where does India choose to buy its fruits and vegetables or freshness groceries?
What problem you basically identify that can create a very larger, I would say, high impact across the country?
We are building basically India's freshness quick commerce platform. The path to revenue and the path to profitability is LoveLocal has always been about digitizing local retail.
And how you got this name?
So what I want LoveLocal to stand for. So we went from like maybe a couple of hundred orders a day to 2 lakh orders per month.
The way you are expanding, you are also keeping that localization along with expanding. It's not like, okay, my next city will be Bangalore or maybe Delhi. You're like, okay, Pune.
And that's really where the seeds of LoveLocal started, because just like $1 million business plan. Like, we have now recently launched LoveLocal delivery fleet. And I didn't know when it was going to happen, but I knew that the next business I started, I wanted to move to India at the right time and start a business there.
Hi guys, I'm Rishi, your host. Welcome to Network Presents Founders Unfiltered. Today we have someone who has turned down the US green card, being a pro squash player from our country, and now solving the problem of local retailers and enabling them through technology, that how quality matters over quick and quantity commerce. Her name is Akanksha Hazari, who is the founder of LoveLocal and the Chief Freshness Officer. She's also one of the solo women founders who have raised one of the biggest round in India. So we welcome her and to understand how she is creating the impact across our country. Hi Akanksha, welcome to Network Presents Founders Unfiltered. I've been hearing a lot about LoveLocal, but wants to hear about that, how you started off. I've known that you've been born in Pune, then you moved out to Hong Kong in 10, then Princeton in 16. I think a crazy journey to start off with LoveLocal. So just wanted to know about how you started off, how you got the idea, and what was the journey is about.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, and super excited to be here.
Yeah.
If you want the full story, I'll give you a little bit of a background about me. So I was born in Pune, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
My family moved to Hong Kong when I was quite young, and grew up in Hong Kong. Was a professional athlete from the age of about 8 till 17. Had the opportunity to go to Princeton. Actually went to Princeton when I was just 16. My dream was to be an Olympian, but unfortunately squash was not an Olympic sport at the time. Squash now is in the 2028 Olympics, a little beyond my time, as much as I would like to think I can go back and compete again. Then actually after I graduated from Princeton, had my first startup in the US very much by accident. So graduated in around 21 years old, went to do my job, and with a bunch of friends ended up building the first policy think tank in the world for young people. That's still around actually. There were 5 of us that were the founding team at the time. Was 3 years building it, 2 years sat on the board, and exited from it when I was 25. And I think all the things that I did, I'd gone to Princeton as pre-med, then switched to pre-law because I knew I definitely didn't want to do medicine. And then once I built young professionals in foreign policy, I was like, I've never been exposed to like entrepreneurship. I think all these words are quite new.
Yeah.
It was completely bootstrapped. We just knew we wanted to build this thing that solved this problem.
Right.
And I think through the journey of that, realized like, I really enjoy this, whatever you called this thing.
Right.
I enjoy building things.
Right.
And I enjoy building things that solve problems I care about. And I also care about problems that also have an impact. I'm not just interested in problems that, let's say, are financially beneficial or financially opportunistic, but I definitely want to build things that also bring some kind of positive impact in the world. So I think that seed happened with YPFP. And so then I actually went into the business world for a few years. Did consulting with a big consulting firm, did clean tech M&A and investments because I'd never studied business. So once this happened, I was like, okay, I should probably just train myself a little bit in terms of business exposure. And it's actually at that time after YPFP that I also decided that I was going to build a business from India. And I didn't know when it was going to happen, but I knew that the next business I started, I wanted to move to India at the right time and start a business there. So did investing, and I did it out of the US and the Middle East. I actually speak Arabic, so they put me on a lot of Middle Eastern clients. And then went to Cambridge for my master's. At Cambridge, honestly, the year was just to put my thoughts together, because I was like, okay, now's the time that you're going to start a business. But I had done so many different things that I needed a year to kind of figure out what I wanted to do exactly in terms of a business. And just the year before Cambridge, I'd come to India with consulting as well. And I'd actually spent a year on a project. I was really lucky to get this project, which was an agri-tech project.
Interesting.
And the mandate from the client was how can technology be used to increase farmer income and productivity.
Right.
And the best thing about that project is for an entire year, I got to live in villages across the country.
Oh, that's
From
nice.
Karnataka all the way to Arunachal. So I was very lucky that I got to travel through so many states in a way that I don't think I would have otherwise. And that's really where the seeds of LoveLocal started, because in that year of doing that consulting project is when I first realized that the time for India has come. Because wherever I traveled, everybody had mobile phones.
This is which year?
This was around 2013-ish.
2013-ish,
Yeah,
right.
right. The mobile wave was just starting.
Right, correct.
And I was basically seeing that, okay, like there's going to be this birth of mobile technology companies and technology companies in India. And it seems to reach like every corner of the country. Like I would be in very small villages that had no schools and no hospitals or just primary schools.
Right.
But everyone had a phone. So I was like, okay, now is the time. Something interesting is happening. Now is the time to come back. And in that year, I also was like, okay, well, someone's going to have to build technology for farmers. And in that year, I was also, when I was traveling, it's like every village I went to obviously had a kirana dukan. So I was like, okay, someone's going to have to build technology for local retailers as well.
Right.
And these are both very high impact industries. They're a big part of the Indian economy and the Indian GDP. So I was like, if I solve for this, then there is an impact that will happen by solving for this user as well. And I think the very honest assessment of agriculture versus retail is I'm not an agricultural expert as much as I'd worked on this project for a year. Whereas retail, I can understand as a consumer.
Right.
So by digitizing local retailers, I was also solving a problem for myself.
Right.
So I was like, let me think about solving something in this space, given the advent of technology and mobile technology in India.
Right.
And then, like I said, went to Cambridge, ended up entering something called the Hult Prize, which is like $1 million business plan, a global business plan competition, and actually led the Cambridge team that won that prize.
Interesting.
And then took my share of the prize money and seeded the company myself.
Oh, that's nice.
And that's kind of how LoveLocal started.
Right.
And the first version of LoveLocal, and which LoveLocal has always been about digitizing local retail, but the first version of LoveLocal started just before Jio launched. And so the first version of LoveLocal was actually built on SMS shortcode, which I don't think you probably even remember. I don't think people understand how much has changed in India in such a short period of time. Because this was literally just 7-8 years ago.
Oh.
Where I think less than 10 million people in India were using smartphones with data.
Yeah.
Jio really only happened 2018-19. That's just 6-7 years ago. That's not a long time ago. So the first version of LoveLocal was a basically web app for the consumer plus SMS shortcode. And for the retailers, initially it was just SMS shortcode because they didn't have smartphones. And then we built an online-offline app because what retailers would do is they would run their app offline the whole day and then they would sync it once at night when they connected to data.
Interesting.
And retailers were doing really interesting things where one retailer on a street would get a mobile connection or network connection, Wi-Fi connection, and then they would share it.
Okay.
Right?
Interesting.
And no one knew that Jio was going to happen. And,
Right.
and thank God those rails got built because it was exciting, but it was very tough. The level of distribution that exists today did not exist then. So everything had to be done, honestly, on ground. And if you wanted to build something for mobile technology, you had to go through the telcos.
Right.
That fundamentally changed in 2018-19. And that's when we were like, amazing. Now we can actually build the Ecommerce, quick commerce platform that we want to build because everyone has a smartphone. Everyone has access to data. India now has the cheapest data in the world.
Right.
So we actually built the platform LoveLocal as we know it today and launched it 12 weeks before COVID.
And how you got this name?
LoveLocal?
Yeah.
I wanted the mission to be in the name.
Oh.
So to me, LoveLocal literally says that we are committed to the mission of local and empowering local retailers. And honestly, in an environment where a lot of platforms have come in and said that they're going to work with kiranas and then open dark stores, I wanted to make very clear that in our name, we will always be about local retailers. and we will never do anything to compete with retailers. So one thing we talk about within our team at LoveLocal is that we will never do anything that competes with local retail. And that makes clear that we will never open dark stores. Through COVID, when everyone opened dark stores, we did not. And even other things, we don't work with modern retail. We don't work with high-end organized retail. We're very clear about the problem that we're solving. One is there's a huge business opportunity here. And two is local retailers are family-owned businesses that in aggregate actually provide 40% of jobs in India directly and indirectly. So when you support local retail, you're actually supporting the economy in a really significant way.
Correct. So what problem you identified at a larger scale that you thought ki this is how I can solve it and make it scalable? What problem you basically identify that can create a very larger, I would say, high impact across the country?
So, I mean, one is, as I said, right, local retailers are family-owned businesses, but they account for 40% of jobs in this country directly and indirectly, right?
40%.
The second is that India's approximately, depending on the data set, has a $1.1 trillion retail market. Even today, more than 95% of it, pan-India is unorganized.
Correct.
Right? So a $1.1 trillion market that in majority is unorganized is a huge opportunity. Even in a city like Mumbai, which is where LoveLocal operates today, it's our HQ, more than 90% of essentials shopping still happens through local stores.
Interesting.
Right? And a city like Mumbai has every platform available to it. And what's happened in parallel is obviously, especially through COVID, Indians have gone online. So you have this friction where Indians see a very strong proposition and value proposition and desire to shop at local stores because of the quality, because of the service, because of the trust you have, because of the assortment. Many factors as to why shopping locally is the chosen destination of the vast majority of Indians. However, Indians want to shop online, right? We don't want to be physically shopping offline. We don't want to be calling people. I don't think we pick up phone calls in general anymore. So I think the need to digitize and like marry the desire for quality with convenience on the consumer side is what we solve, especially given the fact that we focus on the freshness categories.
So do you think that there is a certain kind of decline when it comes to the local shopping because of the dark stores and all this quick commerce penetration in India?
I think obviously in the grocery category, obviously there has been a pressure that's been put on local stores. But very honestly, I think local stores anywhere we're going to go through a process of modernization and consolidation. Right? You can see it when you walk down the street in local retailers. वो बहुत छोटा किराना दुकान जो था, like that anyways was either going to have to modernize or it was going to get replaced by the local retailer on the street who decided to upgrade his stores. Like even when you go into local stores today, there's a category of local stores that have made themselves in terms of the shopping experience and format look more like modern retail. They have an aisle experience, they have changed their signboards, they have glass doors. So when you go in, that is a process of modernizing local retail. The stores that didn't modernize, whether it was quick commerce with dark stores or it was competing with a more modern kirana, they were going to have to invest to compete. So this consolidation of lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of retailers that we had was going to consolidate a little bit anyways between the guys who decided to invest and modernize, because the modern Indian wants a different retail experience. Versus the ones who stayed really, really small. Keeping in mind that offline format has also modernized. Like the old offline format was a countertop, if you recall. You'd walk to the counter, then talk to the retailer, and he would go and get you the stuff. The guys who didn't modernize from that into like an open format aisle structure, they also closed. Right? So I think sometimes when we look at the data around opening of dark stores, it's not accounting for the natural consolidation that was going to happen offline between the stores that weren't going to invest to modernize and the stores that did invest to modernize. So I think that's one thing that we don't account for and is not talked about.
But do you think that any local retailers will ever move to the dark store kind of format, shutting down their local shops and then moving to a kind of franchisee model for any kind of quick commerce apps?
I would say, like in our experience, I don't think they would. I think it's a process of going online.
Right.
So, and that's what they're doing with LoveLocal. So one thing we haven't touched upon yet is the fact that when you look at Freshness,
Right.
right, and which is where LoveLocal is solving, like there is no Freshness app in India. If I asked you what is India's Freshness app, I think your mind would just be empty.
Right.
So where is the destination to shop for high quality fruits and vegetables or high quality meats and fish? There isn't a destination, and I think the reality, I don't know if you do your shopping in your house, but the reality in a household is that if you've tried buying fresh groceries from any dark store or warehouse-led model, you're probably really unhappy with the quality.
Correct.
Right? Where does India choose to buy its fruits and vegetables or freshness groceries? Offline.
Yeah.
And the reality is, as soon as you put freshness products in a dark store or a closed warehouse, the quality immediately starts to deteriorate.
Right.
So the reality is the only way you can solve the freshness problem is through bringing local stores online. Because freshness is going to be of the highest quality in the local markets with the local retailer.
Right.
And most of them are farmers or ex-farmers.
Right.
So their level of expertise in freshness is unparalleled.
Correct.
They know exactly which farm from which they're buying.
Right.
They themselves pick and choose the produce. They pay a lot of attention to the produce they sell to the customer. And so the freshness problem is one that so far no one has tackled in a convenient way. Like one interesting statistic is only 7% of Indians have even tried buying fruits and vegetables online.
Interesting.
And an FT article was done a few months ago where they surveyed 24,000 Indian consumers. Of the ones that had tried shopping online for fruits and vegetables, meaning they had tried from a dark store or warehouse, of them, nearly 90% said they were deeply unhappy with the experience and they were going back to their local stores.
Right.
So when you look at the freshness problem, that's the problem that LoveLocal is solving. We are building basically India's freshness quick commerce platform. Quick and local are not mutually exclusive. I think that's something I want to make clear. Like our deliveries are happening in 30 to 60 minutes.
Right.
I'll be very honest, no one asked for 10 minutes. I've never been like, I need an apple in the next 10 minutes or like, I am ordering my vegetables for dinner tonight for me to cook in the next 10 minutes. The reality is anyone who runs their house knows that most grocery shopping is planned.
Right.
90% of grocery shopping is planned. It is very rare that I need anything in 10 minutes. If I need something last minute, 30 to 60 minutes is like more than good enough if I'm honest. And that's what our data shows. Our data also shows that the primary driver of food shopping is quality. So when we have done analysis between quality and time, quality always wins. When we speak to our power users and we call and speak to power users every week, even I do that still every week in the business, the main reason that they shop at local and LoveLocal is for quality and freshness. And they will wait for quality and freshness if required. But I think in an era when all of us also talk about health and fitness, I think there's been a rise of discussion around health in India and fitness in India and quality of food in India. People are going back to cooking and people are also looking at the quality of food that they're eating and cooking with. And I think that also fits into the mission that we have as a business and a platform.
Interesting. And you are the Chief Freshness Officer.
I am the Chief Freshness Officer.
So let's talk about a few, the early days of COVID, I would say, because you just started off and then the whole country was shut. Right? So how were you able to manage that particular time?
Honestly, we had the most bizarre experience because we launched LoveLocal and we had 12 weeks where we could build like a normal business would have built like a hyperlocal business. So we were 23 people. We'd just done a small Series A round, which was about 6 million. And 23 people, we just hired a few people on ground to start acquiring and bringing the retailers online. And then March came. So we launched in January and March came and COVID happened. Honestly, it was like such a period of chaos and confusion for everybody. And as a small team, it's not like we had massive people on the ground.
Yeah, correct.
And so we took the decision that we were going to build or try and solve it without putting people and teams on the ground from a safety perspective. The other weird thing that happened is suddenly the demand for our platform skyrocketed.
Oh.
So we had this weird dual environment where on the one hand, we were struggling to put people on the ground and didn't want to put people on the ground. And on the other hand, demand for local retailers to go online because they wanted to connect with customers who now couldn't walk to their stores.
Correct.
Like skyrocketed. So we had an unprecedented amount of retailers downloading our app to take their stores online so they could reconnect with their existing customer base and sell to them.
It's like blessing in a disguise.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So we actually solved for remote onboarding of stores. And we solved for remote cataloging of stores. And it forced us actually to use a lot of machine learning and things, we call it smart cataloging, to figure out how do you actually catalog and manage catalogs of stores and manage pricing when you can't physically meet stores. And the demand wasn't just in Mumbai. We had demand pan-India. And during COVID, we scaled from literally just like a handful of retailers to 35 cities in 2 years doing zero. I had no marketing team, no branding team. We literally were like product and engineering and operations. And like, I mean, customer service, retailer support operations in the back end, where we were just going through a process of trying to process the demand we were getting. And we didn't have to do any consumer marketing because the retailers were telling their customers. So we went from like maybe a couple of hundred orders a day to 2 lakh orders per month within just 24 months with zero marketing, completely organic.
And that's like a peak COVID time.
Yeah.
I'd say 2020 and 21.
I would say 2020 to 2022.
Oh,
It ran through because the second wave came and the second wave was so much more brutal than the first wave.
Correct.
Right? So then again, there was a small window where people started to venture offline a bit.
Correct.
And then everyone went into lockdown again. And so again, the demand went up for the platform. So the COVID years, I call it LoveLocal 1.0, which was immense product market fit at scale for a business to do basically no marketing,
Right.
not have to do any consumer acquisition, but scale to 2 lakh orders per month, scale to retailers across 35 cities, and just be in the business of how do I get these retailers, like how do I solve for their cataloging, how can I onboard them smoothly so they can go ahead and operate their businesses smoothly.
So how have you started reaching out to these retailers as you have expanded in 35 cities, if I'm not wrong? So how have you started reaching out to them that, okay, this is the product, this is the technology that is available, and we want to onboard. So basically the value proposition that you are trying to give it to the retailers.
Honestly, during COVID, we didn't have to do it because we were the most known platform and there was no one else doing this. So they were going through the app store and looking for a solution to take their stores online. So even from a retailer marketing perspective, and then retailer communities are very tight-knit, right? So once you have a retailer, a small group of retailers using any solution, they talk a lot. And they share knowledge a lot.
Correct.
Right? So there's a organic virality that happens if you get a foothold in the retailer community and they're happy with your service and your product. Conversely, if you do a bad job, that also spreads like wildfire. But thankfully, on the positive side, if you're doing a good job, that also spreads like wildfire. So we grew very, very fast through COVID, and that's when our pre-Series B happened.
I think I would just correlate with that. If you're trying to solve a bigger problem and if you have a solid solution, you don't need marketing. And I think this is one of the examples that you can set that, okay, you don't need marketing or sales, automatically everything will happen.
I agree to some extent, yes. COVID was also a very unique set of circumstances, right? I think it accelerated India's digitization journey. What would have happened in 10 years happened in 2 years. I think a pandemic is a very, very unique circumstance. But I agree with you, in a certain set of unique circumstances, plus, very deep product market fit for that circumstance, and this can happen clearly. And it happened not just with us, with many platforms.
Okay. So have you ever thought about, we have a lot of heavily funded companies like Swiggy, Blinkit, Zepto, and right? So have you ever thought about that the entire business model that you have can be a kind of one more arm to these heavily funded companies? Or you think about that, no, I don't think that the kind of, I would say the thought that you have behind LoveLocal that can ever come to these companies?
To be honest, we're still an early growth stage company, and I believe that there's a huge gap in the market in terms of solving the freshness problem. And I think the entire team builds with the mission and vision of being India's freshness app and being very, very committed to empowering local retail. Do I think we add value in a way in our industry that no one else does, both in terms of being marketplace and in terms of being freshness? Yes. Many people have come and many people have tried and many people have failed,
Right.
including these large companies. All of them at some point have tried to do marketplace.
And they're still burning, I think, a lot of money.
I think, unfortunately, in India, I'm not gonna penalize companies for burning money, because consumer product it's a long journey.
It takes time.
And it requires a lot of capital. That story is not unique to India. Consumer product companies globally take a lot of cash. And I know it's different from that very dhanda mentality that India was born from.
Yeah.
A lot of these companies, like Zomato, has turned profitable, right?
Right.
Like it's just a different way of building, and I think technology is a different set of circumstances. So I think in India there's a lot of conversation about the amount of capital raised and the amount of capital burned. I think that's a very simplistic way of looking at it. In some cases it is true. Too much capital was raised and not enough was delivered. But in other cases I just think it's how the journey of building that type of company, especially on the consumer side, sometimes requires that amount of capital. And the journey to profitability is longer, but it doesn't mean that it's not there.
Right.
And I think now we're seeing a lot of the companies that people used to talk about being high burning companies
Right.
be profitable.
Right.
So it's taken them maybe a decade or 12 years.
Right.
But it'll get there. And I think it'll get there faster, because if you remember pre-COVID, India was very discount driven.
Correct.
Right? The thought of paying a platform fee would never have been put out there.
Right.
Genuinely.
Correct.
Or paying for delivery.
Correct.
In fact, everyone was throwing money at consumers to just try the platforms and use them. But it was an investment in behavior change. Right? Now, consumers are recognizing that technology and platforms are a service.
Right.
And they're willing to pay reasonable fees, not exorbitant fees.
Correct.
But they're willing to pay service fees effectively. So all the platforms today in the e-commerce or quick commerce space, including us, do charge platform fees. They're not exorbitant. We have, I think, the most transparent pricing. But overall, I would say the industry has matured and the Indian consumer has matured in its relationship with platforms. We buy subscriptions now that pre-COVID, no one would have paid for a subscription. Right? So I think now the path to revenue and the path to profitability is much, much faster than it was pre-COVID.
I think I'm just relating one of the dialogues from Three Idiots that, value ke piche bhago. It's not related directly to that, but value ke piche bhago to valuation chak maar ke piche aayegi. In the end, that's how you can, define what LoveLocal is building. But how your revenue model looks like when it comes to building specifically for the local retailers?
Sure. So I think one of the things that makes us and our business model very powerful is that we're asset light, right? So we don't own warehouses, we don't own product. We're basically connecting two players in the market. One is the retailer, one is the consumer. What that means is uniquely we have the lowest cost per order in the industry. And we actually have had profitable economics or unit economics from day zero, which I think is something that other quick commerce platforms have not cracked yet. So our gross margin on a single order is anywhere from 70 to 80%.
Oh my God. Okay.
And that's because I think, like I said, because we are a marketplace, we're able to be much more efficient on our unit economics than when you have such an expensive stack on the other side. And yes, the challenge that we have to constantly solve for is the experience. And that's the reality with any marketplace.
Right.
But if you look globally, the vast majority of e-commerce platforms globally have been marketplaces.
Correct.
Right? Starting with Uber, marketplace,
Right.
Amazon marketplace, Flipkart marketplace.
Aggregators in the end.
Airbnb marketplace. Right? So marketplaces are challenging because you have to build the supply side, you have to constantly manage the supply side, but that kind of becomes your mode. And when you are able to build marketplace, the opportunities for scale are much larger.
Correct.
Because the investment capital to build that side is lighter. So I think in terms of economics, like I said, we bring the lowest cost per order. We are unit economic profitable, which makes us far more scalable. We have 70 to 80% gross margin on every order. And the way we make money, to your question, is one is, much like other platforms, we have a platform or service fee. We actually have no delivery fees on our platform. So in other platforms, I think you're paying a plethora of fees, which is like I think now they're even charging like nearly $15 in platform fee. Then you're paying a delivery charge. You may pay a small cart fee.
Range surge fee as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of fees there. I do think like even me as a premium consumer look at those fees. Obviously, I don't buy the grocery category when I look at restaurants, for example. Like I find it expensive, so I can't imagine. Like I would be considered, I would assume, one of their premium customers or premium consumers that should be price agnostic. If I'm finding it expensive, then I imagine a lot of other people are finding it expensive. In our case, we just charge today a flat 15 rupee service fee. That's it. There's no delivery fee. There's no small cart fee. There's nothing else on LoveLocal. So it's simple, transparent pricing. We do monetize that on the consumer side. And obviously, like everyone else, we have a consumer subscription.
Interesting.
And on the retailer side, we charge a commission structure. But one of the things we do with retailers is that we always say that it should be a price that works with the retailer's business. Given our vision and mission is to empower retailers. Our interest in it is not in price gouging them. We need to find price points that obviously they're paying for the business and the service that we're providing, but we're not doing it in a way that's hurting their business. So we do retailer commissions and fees on the other side of the platform. We don't do any listing fees, but just on the business that we do provide to these platforms, we make a little bit of money.
So let's take an example that if there is a local retailer who is selling 1 kilo rice is somewhere around 80 rupees, and they're also getting that kind of customer through your platform. They are buying it maybe at 60 rupees, right? Same quality, same local retailer. Then why a local retailer choose to go for your platform versus someone who is buying 1 kilo rice at 80 rupees from his shop?
So I think one is like, I would say, let's talk about fruits and vegetables because that's our bread and butter. So let's say it's 1 kilo onions.
1 kilo onions, yeah.
So I would say the first thing, we don't ask them to shut their physical store.
Right.
Like we're here to take them online and empower them. I'm not trying to say, hey, you should stop doing offline business. However, if you talk to any retailer, he himself will tell you, more than half his business is coming in effectively online. It's coming in through phone calls. And it's coming in through WhatsApp messages.
Right.
Which is bad for the retailer. It's bad for the customer. Why is it bad for the retailer? It's bad for the retailer because he cannot show his catalog. He cannot upsell and cross-sell them.
Correct.
They will just ask for the item that they want. And they actually would lose business in that kind of shopping experience as compared to when you go to a store and you go for onions, but then you buy 10 other things, right? Also, the retailer is doing offline business. अगर सामने से customer आया है और दूसरी तरफ से phone call पे आप बैठ रहे हैं, it's tough for the retailer to manage these phone calls and to manage physical sales at the same time.
Correct.
On the flip side, it's bad for the customer. First of all, we hate talking on the phone, right? So it becomes like a point of friction. Like I don't want to sit there and like call someone and he's busy and like he's trying to talk to me and he's trying to talk to someone offline. I don't have the time to ask him, okay, aaj kanda ka daam kya hai, or what is the price of tomatoes, and go through the entire catalog manually. I have no discovery process, right? And if I send a WhatsApp, I can send one item. If I have questions, I have to sit there on WhatsApp and go back and forth. He may be busy and there may be a delay. Right. So, and for me, going offline is definitely a ton of friction. I don't have the time or the interest, frankly, to physically walk to the store anymore. Right? And then it's not integrated with digital payments. Right. So it's very messy. And if you're also managing your household, you're not doing this with one store. You're doing this with 10 stores. You're doing it for your fruits, and you're doing it for your vegetables. Then you have to manage your grocery. Then you have to manage the chemist. It's a lot of things with a lot of friction. So there is a huge amount of value and convenience in connecting online, both the retailer and the customer. And there's benefits to both. So from a retailer perspective, absolutely continue with your offline sales. Right? There will be a segment of users, and usually, honestly, the more elderly users who are retired, who for them offline shopping is also like a social activity. It's part of their calendar. Please cater to them. Those users are probably also not going to be comfortable using an app. But for probably the vast majority of the users that you have, either that are already calling, or potentially you're losing business because they just find going offline so inconvenient. We are making sure you retain those customers. And we're making it more convenient for the ones calling. And we're increasing their basket size. Because when they go on the app, they can see your whole catalog. You can show them an offer. You can show them a sale. Right. You can do all of those things that you used to do offline when they walk to the store.
So they have an option to upsell as well, right? So when it comes to digital platform. Right. Interesting. So उससे मुझे एक चीज़ याद आई कि आज भी लाइक इफ़ वी इवन मूव टू tier 2 tier 3 cities and even someone who is buying locally, वो फ़ोन पे बोलते हैं खाते में लिख लेना, right? And in the end of the month you just pay that whole amount. In the end it's like a subscription model, right? So you're just waiting कि हाँ मेरे 500 रुपये हो गए, अच्छा मैंने ये सब चीज़ें खरीदी हैं, महीने के एंड में मुझे ये आप पे करना है. So I think now we are just, as you mentioned, that post-COVID, you have seen a kind of boom in the terms of subscription model as well. So when it comes to raising funds, as you mentioned that, you know, it takes time to make a profitable business when it comes to the D2C side of it. How difficult it was for you as a women solo founder as well to raise funds? I think you have raised around $18 million in one single round. That may be one of the largest funding round that you had. So how difficult it was to convince the VCs to make sure that, you know, this is what I'm building for India?
So the last round that we did was our pre-series B, which was the round that you mentioned. We had actually gone out to raise 10 million. We ended up raising closer to 20. We announced 18, but we still had a few additional players that wanted to participate. For better or worse, that was the largest round ever raised by a solo female tech founder in India.
Right.
It's not really, to me, a badge of honor that I wear, because that is a very sad statistic to me. Because it's not like I raised $200 million. I raised, you know, just shy of $20 million. And that kind of unfortunately reflects the challenges in the space. So I think two contradictory facts. One is that less than 1% of funding goes to female founded companies.
Is it?
Yes. And that's not just in India, less than 2% globally.
Oh my God.
And it's actually gotten worse in the last 5 years, not better.
And why do you think, what's the reason behind it?
I think it's biased, because the other fact that's contradictory is that there's overwhelming data, including BCG and Harvard studies, that show women-founded companies outperform male-founded companies. They get profitable faster, they're more revenue and cost efficient, and they deliver higher shareholder value. So from a numerical and business point of view, women-founded companies deliver better results and better shareholder returns and value, and get to profitability faster and are more cost and revenue efficient. But on the other hand, less than 1% of the capital is going to female-founded companies. And that is solely due to inherent biases in the space. The biases honestly just have to do with structural issues in society around investing in women and women's place in society, and it's reflected in the fact that you don't see female investors.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a problem on the investment side. I can count on one hand how many times I've had a female investor on the other side of the table. Right? And that compounds the problem, because I think if you have more female investors, the chances of women receiving funding will be higher, because those inherent biases will be removed from the conversation. But most of the rooms I walk in today, in my world, whether it's the tech world or when I'm interacting with investors in the ecosystem, I am one of less than 1% of women in the room, or maybe the only woman in the room. And that kind of speaks to the problem that exists. So
I don't think that we have a lot of VC funds specifically designed for women in India. I don't think
or
we
even
have
globally.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, sadly this is not an India specific problem.
Yeah. Do you ever think that, you know, at a certain extent that you reach to a certain level, you will just launch your own VC fund supporting other women founders?
I think a lot of the female founders, not just in India, globally, are taking that track, that the female investors or women investors are going to come from successful female founders at some point. And I think they need to. I think that has to be the starting point, because in the industry, that happening organically does not seem to be happening. And so you see it a little bit. There's a fund in New York called the Female Founders Fund. It's not the largest one, but it's one fund that is kind of focused on this problem. I think unfortunately sometimes those are looked at like as DEI initiatives,
right.
and not actually as serious funds. But again, I go back to the fact that overwhelming studies and data show that female-founded companies outperform male-founded companies. And so if you want higher returns, have a diverse portfolio. I'm not saying only invest in female-founded companies, but don't not invest. You should have a balanced portfolio, right. Not 99% to 1.
Correct. So, but what was the specific moment of failure for you? Because while building LoveLocal, you have seen COVID, but in the end COVID was like a blessing in disguise for you. So what was that one moment of failure you feel like, okay, this is something where I just want to be there, and in future I make sure that everything happens normally? So have you ever had that kind of moment in your life?
Honestly, as much from a business perspective, COVID obviously proved that India is going online and gave us like an amazing data set for PMF. COVID, the second wave, was very hard for our team. We actually lost 3 team members. And so from that perspective, I definitely, if I could trade it, I would trade the PMF to have those team members back. I think that was probably one of the darkest times as a founder. I think whatever founders went through during COVID, whatever maybe worked on the business side, suddenly during COVID, we were not just founders, we were responsible way beyond what we would be responsible for in a normal business environment, right? So our team members look to us to take care of them, look to us to take care of their families. And in many ways, we were not equipped, right? Like when you are a business owner, those are skills that, like that level of care that you have to start like learning very quickly, left us like very unprepared. I know I felt very unprepared,
right.
You know, and obviously that was the priority. That's also why we chose not to have anyone on the ground. But I would say the darkest time for me, as much as we had PMF on the business side, was those 2 years building in COVID. And so I would say, I don't know if I would put it as a failure, but I would say building during COVID and especially the second wave, there were times where it was not even like, do I think this business has a future? During the second wave in India, I think many of us questioned, like, are we ever going to get out of this? You know, like everyone was in hospital. It was a very, very dark time for everybody.
But have you ever thought that you've been a pro squash player, and when it comes to sports build resilience, right?
Yeah.
Do you really think that kind of quality helped you during the second wave of lockdown? I
mean, 100%. I think it's helped me throughout my journey. I think school taught me nothing. And nothing useful came from school in terms of being a founder, but everything useful came from sports.
Right.
I think when you want to be one of the best in the world at a sport, so I was 12th in the world when I was 15 for squash, for juniors, right? So there's a very sharp pyramid. There can only be one who's number one and then one who's number two, right? So there is no gray area, actually.
Right.
And you lose more than you win in the path to getting there.
Correct.
Now I'm an avid amateur competitive tennis player. Like, one of the quotes for me that stands out is when Federer retired, he did that speech. And he gave that statistics, right? I've only won 56% of the matches I've ever played. He's one of the greatest tennis players of all time.
Right.
This is true of any athlete, even the greatest athletes of all time. They have just won a little bit more than they have lost.
Right.
Which tells you that to be an athlete, you have to get through a lot of losses to get to winning. So, and it's kind of accepted. Like, no one expects an athlete never to have lost. And I actually wish we brought more of that DNA into the startup space. Right? If we accepted, hey, the journey to success has many losses, it would not be shamed as much. But you don't shame an athlete for losing one tournament or losing one match or having one bad day of training. Because it's all part of the process. It's accepted as part of the path and part of the model to winning. So I would say, to your question, 100% I took that resilience, because losing is built in. And you're required to show up whether you like it or not the next day. And like Michael Phelps has said that most days he didn't want to be in the pool. As an athlete, when you're training every day, so many days you don't want to show up, but you do.
And I think, just to add on, athlete mindset or maybe athletic mindset plays a very important role while building a startup. I highly relate with that when it comes to health and fitness. Reason being, if you're physically fit, if you're mentally fit, for you, while solving different problems for your startup, becomes a little easy. But if you're not eating healthy, if you're not like physically or mentally fit, you will be, burned out. You will start feeling that, okay, I don't want to do this. Right?
Yeah. I mean, again, more recent studies have shown that for mental health, physical fitness is actually the best cure.
Yeah.
Right? There was a university, I've forgotten the name of the university, a major research institute in Australia came out with a study, said they have gone through people who have gone through mental health challenging phases or even depression.
Right.
And the most effective tool within the toolkit was actually being physically fit and training. Because very literally you get a dopamine rush, right? Serotonin goes up.
Right.
The second thing, which I think is really important that people don't think about, which you pointed out, is that physical fitness is a competitive advantage.
Right.
I can do more hours than anyone else out there.
Correct.
I fall sick less. I am mentally sharper because I am physically fit and I am healthy than those founders who are not. So this whole thing, honestly, I firmly don't believe in this, in celebrating bad lifestyles. I think it's been part of the startup space of, oh, you know what, I didn't sleep at all.
Yeah.
Right? Like glorifying bad lifestyles and glorifying bad health, to me, to be honest, shows someone that actually is not very structured and disciplined.
Right.
I don't think it's possible to be productive for 24 hours a day.
Right.
If you do a very focused 12 hours, I bet you I way outperform my 12 hours or my 13 hours than someone who was like, oh, I was up till 2 a.m.
Right.
What tells me is that you manage time incredibly poorly. The time that you spent were probably more inefficient hours. And what that means is you've killed your next day.
Right.
So your mind is not as sharp.
Right.
You're more likely to fall sick. And many other factors. So I don't like this glorification of like, I think it's nonsense. Glorification of things that burn you out. I just don't think it's smart. And it shows to me people who are unstructured and undisciplined in how they manage their time.
And even as a country, we are moving towards a kind of generation where we are celebrating people who are sleeping maybe at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. at night, rather than someone who is just partying out throughout the night. We have started appreciating that kind of discipline if someone is waking up at 6 a.m., getting their workouts done or playing a sport, and then going to a workspace, working throughout the day, and then coming back, spending some time with their families, and then sleeping on time. If I would say, after maybe 6-7 years back, we used to feel cool when someone is just partying out throughout the weekends. But now we are like at a space, okay, if you're going for a Sunday run at Bandra, oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool. And I think that's the kind of shift that we are having right now in our country. And
I think also like the birth of honestly sports that people are able to enter more easily as a starter. Like, for example, like obviously I love racket sports. So the examples of even pickle and paddle. As much as for me, they're not the racket sports that I love that people are choosing in social gatherings and social, instead of, hey, let's go to a restaurant, it's like, hey, let's go play pickle. Hey, let's go play paddle.
Right.
That's a far more active, like, social endeavor and good use of your time than, like you said, drinking, partying, that being how people socially connect. So I think that's a really, really positive trend that's happening in India, and I think we need it because I think we have like otherwise a very big health crisis on our hands.
Right. And sports is one of the biggest icebreaker, which I feel that if you wanna meet someone in their office, or if you wanna meet someone for a tennis match, these are two different things, and the kind of relation that you build with that person.
I mean, I wish India hopefully will catch up soon, but if you look at the US in particular, and maybe even Europe, if you are an athlete or if you are in the army, you are much more likely to get into university because they value and understand the skill sets that come from that. When you apply for jobs, companies actively seek out high-level athletes or army, again, because of the skill sets, the discipline, and also the health and fitness.
Right.
And if you look at founders, very honestly, in Europe and the US, you will be hard-pressed to find a founder that is not in good health. If not incredibly fit, like just take a poster of most of the founders that are Western founders.
Mark Zuckerberg or maybe Jeff Bezos. Like,
you will be, if you walk around Silicon Valley, most of them will be runners, cyclists, something or the other.
Right.
They will be in good physical health. Right? I try to do that in India. Like, honestly, when I'm interviewing people, I look for people who are athletes or have some kind of sport or physical activity that they have been serious about. So we have some state level badminton players on our team.
Oh, nice.
We have people who train every day around strength and fitness and weightlifting. I would say we probably have a higher proportion of those type of people on our team compared to other teams. Because at the end of the day, actually, we reap a lot of rewards in terms of they have the ingredients of what it takes to build a startup. And health and fitness is there as well, which lends itself to someone who's just generally more productive and is able to deliver every day instead of being sick a lot of time.
Right.
I wish there were more options. I'll be honest, it's hard. Like the talent pool of people who have fitness, if I could screen for it more, I would. We don't have enough talent pool that is focused on sports alongside everything else they do. But I hope that we start seeing more and more of that.
And sports is the future of networking in India, which I think because of Paddle and Pickle, now people have started realizing, okay, I can play a sport and plus I can do a good, better way of networking as well. I think in US, if we see, a lot of business owners meet for golf, right? Meet for tennis. And I think that kind of trend is also coming to India.
I mean, I've met investors on playing squash.
Oh,
yeah,
that's nice. That's
so
nice. I think that's how you raised your first $18 million round.
No, but one of my investors does play tennis. So like the investor that led the fund that led the pre-series B, the $18 million round. One of the people on that team. First of all, they're all very into health and fitness, so we connected on that. And one of them is really into tennis. So like when he comes to Mumbai to visit the team, we often get a tennis match in, and we have some of our best conversations around tennis.
Oh, interesting. That's nice. So when it comes to let's come back to LoveLocal as well. We both love health and fitness. I think we have started having the conversation around it. But like when it comes to the future of LoveLocal, how it looks like when it comes to scaling to more cities, more retailers across India.
Yeah. So before I go, I will say how fitness links to LoveLocal as well is I actually feel really good about the fact that we're solving for freshness. Right? At the end of the day, the core things we're selling people is not chips and Coca-Cola, but it is fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, fresh meats, eggs. Nice. And so I would say, obviously, it's not the core driver behind why we initially started this business. But I can tell you it makes me feel very good about it, instead of me pushing things that are not particularly good for people's health.
Right.
And it pushes a culture of cooking at home. And it pushes in that way also family structures, time together. So I think for me, I feel good about waking up in the morning and, if I'm running a marketing campaign, at the end of the day, I'm asking you to buy an apple. And I can feel good about that at the end of the day.
Interesting.
But to your question, what's our plan? So currently we're focused on Mumbai. Over the next year, we aim to become one of the leading e-commerce platforms in Mumbai. So we should be the leading freshness app in the city, in the same breadth as any of the large quick commerce platforms that you talk about. And that's our mission for the next year. Today, we cover nearly 100% of Mumbai for fruits and vegetables. So if you open the app anywhere in the city, you will find the top fruits and vegetable stores in your neighborhood. We're delivering very fast. So what I say is that we're the new quick com. We are quality commerce and quick commerce. And the new Q-com is about quality. I think
that's nice. Quality commerce. Yeah, that's
I think the new Q-com is quality. I think Indian consumers are getting more and more aware of quality and not just quick. And so what I want LoveLocal to stand for is to be the leader of quality commerce.
Interesting. I think you're just changing the definition of quick commerce through quality commerce. Yeah. That's nice.
And then post next year, the goal is then to scale into other cities. The next city for sure we're looking at is Pune. And then to move into tier 1 and tier 2 cities. What's interesting is we launched a feature called Notify Me in the app. So if you happen to open the app and we don't operate there, you can say, hey, just tell me when you launch.
And you can just collect the data and see that where do we have to launch.
So when we look at the data of that map, and we just launched this a few months ago, one is that we are into lakhs of people hitting that Notify Me button.
Oh,
and
nice.
The heat map is immense. It's not just from tier 1, which was really interesting to me. It is also from tier 2 and tier 3.
And you're born in Pune.
Yeah. And so Pune for sure is the next one. It's close to Mumbai. It's a city I know well. But I think that feature actually gave us a massive insight into one, hey, people are tracking LoveLocal. And two is that, hey, this demand for convenience and quality to be connected, for your local stores to be online, is something that there's huge demand for across the country.
That's nice. So I think even if the way you are expanding, you are also keeping that localization along with expanding. It's not like, okay, my next city will be Bangalore or maybe Delhi. You're like, okay, Pune. Then maybe, I'm just also expanding it locally, which also aligns with your aim.
Yeah.
That I love local. So I love Pune. That's nice. That's interesting. But do you think that managing deliveries across India, let's take an example 5 years down the line, when you're expanded like through like maybe 10, 15, 20 odd cities in India. So do you think that managing deliveries will be a kind of tough, I would say, discussion to have? Because I think that's one point which takes a lot of manpower and huge operations as well, alongside your technology.
So what's interesting and what is also another differentiator between LoveLocal and the other QCom platforms is that we have retailers delivering themselves in addition to our own fleet. So in a lot of neighborhoods, retailers have their own delivery partners. They don't need the support, right? I'll give you an example. In my neighborhood, I order obviously from LoveLocal. We have an amazing food store called Patil Foods.
Right.
He delivers to me in 22 minutes. He has his own delivery partners.
Oh, nice.
Right? From that perspective, he has solved the delivery leg. We have now recently launched LoveLocal Delivery Fleet. That is basically to solve delivery for retailers who are struggling with it. And there's two. There's some retailers who just generally are struggling all year round and they want the delivery support. The second is there's seasonal challenges. So April, May, a lot of people go home to the village. Right? In that season, they do struggle with delivery partners. So we, I think, are the only platform in India that's running a hybrid model, which is a combination of what we call RDP, which is Retailer Delivery Partners.
Retailer Delivery Partner, RDP.
And then LLDP, which is LoveLocal Delivery Partners. What that means is that we have a, again, far more efficient system in terms of unit economics because not every delivery has my delivery partner. The second is it almost gives me a fallback network. In some cities, I may not need to have a delivery fleet because retailers will have their own delivery fleet.
Right.
And in environments where there's competition for delivery partners, I have a backup, right? If on a certain day, for whatever reason, we're not able to have fleet, the retailers are able to deliver themselves. So we have a two-legged delivery model, whereas for other platforms, they have a single delivery model. And if the delivery partners are not available or they're super expensive, there is no fallback.
So what's the proximity of distance covered by one local retailer on your platform?
I would say on average 2 kilometers.
2 kilometers. Yeah. Okay, that's nice. So do you think that at scale, is it better to have in-house delivery fleet or is it better to have, if it's outsourced to a third party?
I think hybrid.
Okay.
Hybrid. Like I said, I think hybrid, and it's very much the intention of us building LoveLocal delivery partner fleet is to support retailers and where they're struggling. If they're not struggling, like Patil is not struggling, why would I give it to him? It also costs him more.
Right.
When I am using our delivery partner, obviously I have to charge him more because I have a bigger cost. So I would never impose our delivery fee on any local retailer who's like, no, I have my own partners. You can charge me less and I'll do the delivery. I'll meet the experience standards you want me to meet. And there's some stores where like I'm struggling, like please help me out on the delivery leg. And cool, then I will provide you with delivery, ensure that you can be online successfully.
So you have an option given to the retailer. So it also gives a kind of flexibility to them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. But if a VC tells you that, I don't invest in women founders in future, that you think about, scaling to the next level, you're raising your next round. So what will be your answer?
I don't talk to VCs that don't, or take money certainly from VCs that don't invest in female founders.
Right.
And I would say for 2 reasons. One is I think that's ridiculous. And 2 is obviously they're not very good at business because like I said, if they follow the data, women founder companies provide outsized returns for shareholders. So if he's just a smart or she's just a smart business person, then they would never make that statement as a principle.
And at scale, what I feel, even LoveLocal can reduce the number of shops getting, shut down maybe because of the rise of quick commerce. So in the end, it's not just the entrepreneurship, it's a social entrepreneurship, right? So in the end, your vision is somewhere around social entrepreneurship, which I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't shy away from the fact that yes, there's a huge business opportunity, but what motivates me and us as a team is also that there's a huge impact to be made, and that's something we're very proud of, actually.
So even if when it comes to the additional responsibilities that you have now, you're the part of team as well, which is the part of the advisory council, if I'm not wrong. Is it easy for you to manage so many things? Because as you're scaling your startup, you're also taking some additional responsibility to do better in the terms of technology and other startups who are booming in Bombay.
Yes, I'll just give a team for some background. Obviously, as you know, is the Tech Entrepreneurs Association of Mumbai, which was created to basically market and make people aware that actually there's a huge amount happening in tech in Mumbai. But Mumbai also has so much other stuff going on. It has finance, it has Bollywood, that there has too many things happening that one of the things gets lost in the fray. And as a Mumbai-based tech founder, I think there was a bunch of us who were like, hey, are there other people here? Because we only ever hear in Bangalore. And then when we started talking to each other, we quickly realized there were like 46 unicorns in Bombay. And then this year now we have 85 companies that are either Soonicorns or unicorns. There's like a huge volume of tech founders and tech companies. And I will say there's a higher proportion and percentage of profitable companies that are Mumbai-based than from other cities. So the goal of the team basically is to, one, make India aware and the world aware, to be honest, that Mumbai is in fact a tech hub. There's a lot happening and we want to be louder about that. And the second is then we want to continue to foster and grow that ecosystem and create community around that. So I, as you mentioned, am on the elected governing council for team. It does take a little bit more time. I'm very structured about my time, so I'm able to fit that in. To give you a sense, I even eat the same things at the same times every day. I'm incredibly calendar structured and time efficient to minimize decision making or what time wastage. Right. So obviously with team, I've had to become even more structured and disciplined. But it's definitely an exciting and worthy mission. And I'm really excited to be a part of it. And I think we're doing really exciting things. So we had Mumbai Hacks recently, which was the largest hackathon, AI agentic hackathon in the world. We've even won the Guinness World Book of Records last year. Mumbai Tech Week will be coming up in the first half of 2026. It's the largest tech week in Asia. It's an incredible event if you haven't been to it. And so we're doing a lot of things that are not just for, honestly, Mumbai tech, but India tech.
Interesting. So it's also loving tech locally. And when it comes to locally, that means Bombay.
Listen, I'm very, very passionate about India and India's future. We've talked about for many decades the American dream. I've come to India for the Indian dream. And I think the Indian dream exists today. And I love Mumbai, and I'm building my Indian dream from Mumbai. And I want to be part, hopefully, in some small part, contribute to building future India, which I believe is going to be one of the most successful countries in the world if we all do our jobs, both from a citizen perspective and from a government perspective. We have all the potential to be one of the most successful countries on this planet. And I hope I can contribute in some small way to that.
I think even from the Western perspective, if we see our country, India is the next big thing, right? As a country, how we are booming in the terms of the policies that we are coming in, with the Startup India program and other programs as well. So I think we have to appreciate a little bit more when it comes to how things have transformed in India in the last 10 years. Definitely the digitization, the fintech boom, and also the post-lockdown era of startup boom, and even the Shark Tank also is one of the part of it. So I think it all comes to the point where each and every founder contributing to the betterment of the society. I love one of my favorite quotes, which I just want to tell that, success is the beneficial footprint of how you define the footprints that we leave on society. So, and if we want to become a billionaire, help a billion people, right? And I can relate with how LoveLocal is building for a country. So I feel very happy hosting you here to even understand that how you're building it for the local retailers. Amazing. So I think now we come to a kind of round.
Okay.
It's called this or that. It's
Ready.
it's not related to what you are building.
Okay.
Like some random questions.
I'm ready.
Okay, so I think I already know this answer, but like Pilates or tennis?
Tennis.
Who is your favorite?
Anything with a racket and a ball.
So, who is your favorite tennis player?
Novak Djokovic, hands down. I'm like a die-hard Novak Djokovic fan.
So, have you ever thought about that? If I have to get a best brand ambassador for LoveLocal,
Yeah.
that
I don't know if Novak would be the most appropriate thing for our business, but if it did, I would just like die from like happiness, honestly. So Novak Djokovic for sure.
I know you're a fitness freak, but still, what's your favorite food? Bhel puri or sev puri?
Bhel puri.
No sev puri.
Sev puri is okay, but bhel puri is like my number one.
I think it's still healthier than the other chat options that you have. Maybe that's also one of the reasons that you have chosen bhel puri.
No, I'm not that. Like I do enjoy having my treats once in a while. Bhel puri, I love bhel puri.
Yeah, like no, it's have puffed rice. Puffed rice have low calories. That it's better to have bhel puri than pani puri.
It's just like a childhood favorite that I have.
That's favorite Hindi film.
I would go back to the classics, DDLJ. I think that was an amazing era, and I think DDLJ was like undeniable.
So have you get a chance to visit Maratha Mandir and watch DDLJ again?
I haven't watched it in Maratha Mandir. I've definitely been to Maratha Mandir, but I've watched it now that they're on the streaming platforms. And it's nice to go back to that nostalgic era of movies. I think that was one of the greatest eras of movies, actually.
How many times have you watched DDLJ?
I don't even think I can count them, to be honest, at this point.
Ja Simran Ja. Ji le apni zindagi. That's nice. Okay, that's nice. So, love local or love global?
Love local.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a random question.
That's a given.
That's nice. So, if you have to choose between Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Ratan Tata,
I think for me, it's a no-brainer, Ratan Tata. And the reason for that is I think he has done the most philanthropically. I think two things. He's done the most philanthropically. And for me, the fact that for him, it was a lot about impact on society is something that resonates with me a lot. The second is the other two that you've talked about, they're relatively new in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
The Tatas have built truly a business that stands the test of time.
Yeah.
Right? It is a multi-generational business that will be around, I'm sure, in 100 years. So I think that's something to be admired, where you build something that outlasts you. And that's something I really admire about Ratan Tata and similar founders. And me personally, I prefer quiet founders. I think the great work happens quietly and it doesn't need to be loud and showy. And I think Ratan Tata more, for me, resonates and is the type of founder that I would want the world to celebrate more. Is a founder that builds institutions, does good for society, and there isn't too much ego wrapped up in it.
I think creating more value and impact, not just the valuation.
Yeah, and not to be a star. I think the business should be the star.
Right.
And I think the impact should be the biggest star.
And being humble, still, at that age. So that's amazing. Okay, last question. One startup cliche that you want to drop. One is fail fast, growth hacking, or disruption.
Probably growth hacking. I think fail fast is very true. I think you should do things, fail and learn. I think growth hacking is a bit of like it's like a catchy phrase, like you said. I think growth is a science. I think growth is an art. I think it takes a lot of work. I think you have moments that when market meets product where growth gets accelerated. But I think at the end of the day, there's no quick win for long-term goals. And maybe this goes back to me being an athlete. Find me an athlete that played for a week and became world number one. Most athletes have to toil for years and years and years through injuries, losses, struggles, no money, so many things. And so I actually don't believe that like great success happens overnight as much as the world likes to frame it that way. I think it takes time and consistent and disciplined hard work to achieve long-term goals, and meaningful success.
Yeah, it said ना कि हारने और हार मानने में बहुत बड़ा फर्क है. You know, and that's the kind of athletic mindset that we need to have as an entrepreneur. Perfect. So thank you so much, Akancha, for taking
Thanks
the
for
time
having me.
out. And we loved about LoveLocal. And we wish you a lot of success and growth. And hopefully people will be understanding how, I would say, quality matters over quick or quantity. So thank you so much for today's time.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.